What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the CAR-NIVORES YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing another garage feature. I know it's been a while. We've been doing a lot of car features, but not garage features. So if you didn't know that, we do that as well. If you have like a fleet of 20 cars, I do not mind coming over and talking about them. So I want to welcome my buddy Brad. He doesn't have an at, so haha, sorry. Guy, I met him through the car meet, and we wanted to try to start up the Chapel Hill section of the area, but kind of hard to start up a Chapel Hill car scene, apparently.
It is, yeah, they are not too keen on it. They will call noise complaints on everything. For
everything, yeah, and the cops are like, I mean, if you fart too loud, you're basically getting pulled over, so it's pretty insane. But anyway, he still comes out to mine when he can, and he stood out to me because he's got something that I used to absolutely love as a kid, because I knew that they were basically the same as 3000 GTs and how awesome 3000 GTs were, and that was Dodge Stealth. And he also has another car that I used to absolutely love because it's basically the epitome of 80s radness, and that is a 944 that he's had for 2 months. I made him buy it. I'd like to think I made him buy it. So yeah, he's got a cool little variety here, man, of toys. He's got his resto mod, he's got his super baby, and he's got his other baby over here, and his daily shit bod. We're going to talk to Brad about his history, about why he purchased these cars, why these cars are special to him, and hopefully you learn something. Hopefully you fall in love with his cars. Yeah, let's do more car shit. All right, so first up, we're gonna start with the most recent purchase, the 944.
Yes.
Is it a turbo?
It is not a turbo. It is a 1988 944. It's the base model. Very just simple, not the S model. So, but I mean, it's super well kept. Got it from somebody who driving it daily. She picked up a 996, and so that became her daily.
Oh.
And husband was maintaining it. He works at a really good reputable shop in Chapel Hill. Does Euro stuff, cars, Beamers, what you
dude,
name
you
it.
Can't beat that.
Yeah. So, and of course, husband maintains his car for his wife. He's gonna make sure it's in really good shape. So, picked this up. I didn't know I was gonna get it. Somebody on Facebook was like, hey, somebody should check this out, and I was like, and I went and looked at it. I was like, oh my gosh, I used to have a 1985 944 back many years ago.
Oh, look how clean it is.
This thing is pretty much in really good shape. Everything's original.
It smells new.
Yeah, I was surprised as well. Driving it, drives great. It has a couple little vibrations for an old car, which is expected. I mean, it's common. Drives great, get on the highway, it goes really nice. It doesn't go fast, but it goes.
Does it have any problems getting to 80 miles an hour?
Not at all.
Okay, then it's fine.
Really smooth. I drive this pretty much anywhere. It's a really fun car. I really like these. I've always liked them since high school. I remember when I could buy one of these for about, I don't know, 2,500 bucks back in high school, and paid a little bit more for this one. But
absolutely, gotcha. Yeah, in high school, these would have been just 80 shit boxes. They weren't classics yet. If I remember correctly, they were just basically throwaway cars for a while. But I always just liked the shape of them. I like the square body. I've always been a hatch fan. 80s cars always stuck out to me.
They do. Yeah.
And this is terrible, but my fondest memory of a 944. One day I was on the bus. We were at a stoplight, and a guy pulls up in a 944 like a college student. And I was like, oh man, that's so dope, right? Dude pulls out a freaking like crack pipe and lights it up.
Oh no.
And I was like, oh my goodness. Little quick story there, man. But is that a sunroof?
That is a sunroof, removable sunroof.
It just pops out?
Yep, you got there's a little special thing you do with the key, controlled by the key, so you have to unlock the hinges first.
Gotcha.
Before you can take it off, but it's a two-step process, kind of keeps it so that nobody can just come in and, you know, pull the clamps off. They actually have to be, you have to have the key in order to remove the clamps in order to take the sunroof off, and then
it's just wide open.
In the back, this is an automatic top. But it doesn't work all the way, but it does unlock. So if you want to help me out, you can pull up on it as I'm opening it. Okay, there you go.
Oh.
And I got the floor mats in the back, and then of course, if you need to bestow your top, it comes with a bag, and then you just lay it on the back.
Oh wow! Are there any compartments up under this?
We do have compartments. Spare tire, just some extra storage here and there. It's a lot to get out of the way, but it's got buttons and stuff that are
I got you. You
so,
don't have to take it apart.
It's pretty.
It doesn't look like it's ever had to be taken apart, man. Look at this thing. That's so clean.
It was the original odometer broke, which was common on these. About 100,000 miles it went out. Got it replaced with one with a higher mileage one, but it still runs normally. So
about really, how many miles does it have?
Probably if it had more than 105,000 miles, probably no more than that. So not that many at all. Well kept for sure. Like you can find some that are in really bad shape, but this one's definitely.
I bet there's some turbo guys out there that are jealous of how clean everything is on this. Like, I mean, look, the buttons. Yep. There's no wear.
Nope.
Oh, I found some.
Just on the little sunroof part.
I found some wear.
The sunroof button. Yep.
Oh, and the sunroof button?
Yep.
Oh, so they use their sunroof, huh?
Yeah, but other than that, no, it's pretty good.
Oh, and what's that button right there?
That looks like a cigarette lighter.
The cigarette lighter. That is crazy, man. And this isn't restored. This is just how it was. That's great, man.
But eventually, like I said, I mean, it's what, 34-year-old paint, so I mean it's gonna be single stage, so it does have some imperfections.
Take that to Travis, man. He'll
and
he'll
save that. When I first got this too, I also made sure I did a full compound wax on it, and I did a buff and just brought it out a little bit more, so it's a little bit more, presentable than when I first got it. But
gotcha. Anything special on the hood that we need to see?
It's just a good old 2.5 liter Volkswagen engine. But it is in good shape.
Is that auto too? Wow.
It is in good shape. It runs really good. Can't say I have any issues with it. It's been maintained, like I said, really well. And I used to have one that was, not as well taken care of, and it was a lot for me to handle at the time, so that's when I sold it. Might have some options in the future, maybe do some little different mods here and there, maybe some of the Fuchs wheels that are pretty popular for these.
Yeah, okay, all right, and pop-up headlights, rad.
Always.
Yeah, always. I know we're all fanboys for 944s, so it's always good to see people taking care of these. They hold a special place in a lot of our hearts, especially because a lot of the Porsche folks of the 80s and 90s didn't care about these things. They just
front engine.
Front engine. They don't care. Like it's against the rules. Let's swap it. Next, we got the most recent purchase again for the gas prices. The daily shit box. Now, this actually comes from a buddy of ours, Mason.
Yep. I was like, hey, I put a feeler out there. Like, who's got something cheap I can drive? And they're like, hey, I got this. It was been sitting for a little bit, but we started up, drove it. He did a little work on it. He's actually a mobile mechanic, the guy who bought it from, and it's one of his partners that had this and he didn't need it. It saved. There's a difference between putting gas in this and like putting it in the 944 is like 80 cents a gallon. That's where I'm kind of like, you know what? I found this. I was like, it's not pretty, but you know what? It starts good. I drive about 30 miles one way, come back. That's what it is. It's not clean, it's not pretty, but man, it goes. It's a Honda.
Yeah, man, reliable. How many miles?
260 some thousand. I don't know.
Oh, that's nothing. That's baby
not at all.
Yeah. Nope. And it's an auto, so
no weird engine noises. Actually drives really well. I mean, it's got the little bit of a body.
It had a life. That's what it's. That's all
it's
of it
been
is.
Driven, and but I can't complain. It's the put all my tools in, some like crud that I need to take to the trash. I put it in there.
No cares.
It's what it is. It's $17 a month insurance. What am I going to complain now?
Next up, we have 95 Dodge Stealth RT.
This would be the non-turbo model.
Non-turbo. Okay, before we start deep diving into this, let's talk about the history of the Dodge Stealth. The differences between this, a 3000 GT. What do you think is better? What's your personal belief? I personally have always loved the Stealth, but I never thought the Stealth looked as good as a 3000 GT.
That's fair.
But I have seen some that I'm like, whoa, like that looks amazing. Okay.
Yeah. There are definitely nicer ones than mine, but
so let's talk about that. Let's start where you fell in love with the Stealth. How did this start?
I really fell in love with this platform, Gran Turismo 3.
Yeah.
That was when I found the VR4, and I was diving into the VR4, and then I was like, oh my god, I mean, awesome car. Mitsubishi really hasn't done much with their sports line, since the Evo, which came, last a little bit longer. Then I found out that, researching the Dodge Stealth is the basically exact sibling to it. It's all internals, all Mitsubishi. Everything in it is Mitsubishi, has Mitsubishi part number. The only thing difference is that Dodge made outside different. They got the steering wheel that says Dodge on it. There's other minor differences that, if you know,
wheels, little things like this little fin here.
The buttresses, that's what they call those.
Buttresses, okay.
Just like the GT.
Is there any real benefit to that?
Honestly, as far as, quote me if I'm wrong, but apparently this has a slightly better drag coefficient than the VR4 does as far as...
Is it because of how this sucks in and then the way that the spoiler is shaped?
Could be. Nobody likes the banana, but you know, it's what makes it a stealth, and that's kind of the weirdness of it. That's why I like cars like this. It's different. The only difference is the RT. It's non-turbo, front-wheel drive. Everything's pretty much the same as far as, you know, internals go. Yeah, I was actually driving this daily for a while because it's a good car. And these engines are actually really good. 6G72 engines are actually really nice.
Really?
They have good reliability if you take care of them.
Hello.
She's been sleeping.
She's the older one.
Oh no. I never knew that they were very reliable. Did hear that they were extremely hard to work.
Depends on what you have. If you have the turbo, you have extra stuff. You have 2 turbos, you have intercooler piping, you have all-wheel drive train. The intercooler, non-turbos are all front-wheel drive. Overseas, it was different. There's a lot of variations. They have the MR.
Yeah.
They have the GTO, which is their version of the 3000 GT.
Gotcha.
This is a Clash. They will say these are DSMs. They are not. Every single 3000 GT in Stealth was made in Nagoya, Japan. So they are all from Japan, made in Japan, and they are shipped over, and they have the Dodge body put on them.
Okay.
For me, this is JDM. This is a Japanese car made in Japan, and it was all built in Japan, and it's just the exterior, the cosmetics are done by Dodge.
Okay, so now I know what that means when you Mitsubishi guys are always like, oh, is that, whose DSM is that?
Yeah.
Or who's, I'm like, what is that? It's an Eclipse. What are you talking about?
This is straight from Japan, so.
All right, so let's pop the hood because I want to see the difference between this one and that one under the hood.
It's also a 2G, which means it has fixed headlights. It has a different body style, which we'll see the differences later. Okay. And also the hood is a little different. It doesn't have the hood blisters.
I mean, these are literally 3000 headlights, 3000 GT headlights. And then you said the blister. Oh, those little
hood blisters over the towers. They're on the other or first gen Stealths, and VR4s have them for over the towers of the struts.
We'll talk about what the hell that is later, because
And this is just a basic 3-liter 6G72 engine.
You're right. It does look a lot more manageable without the turbos. I don't know if I've ever seen one.
Turbos would be missing. Would be here and here. They are not here on this one. But you said almost exactly the same though as far as everything goes. Timing's over here.
Gotcha.
Usually you have to remove your motor mount to do your timing. And Mitsubishi actually puts little access ports here. You can actually, when you have to get in there to turn your engine, they actually have a little hole down there in the firewall shield.
That's convenient.
So that they also have another version of this for the base models that is a single overhead cam engine that is actually non-interference. This is an interference engine.
Okay.
So the non-interference ones, those are actually really nice. They are powered down, but they are bulletproof. There's people who have them go 400,000, 500,000 miles.
Wow.
Because they are just secret.
Well, let's check the inside of this. I don't know why I used to think these were T-tops for some reason.
Nope, they never
maybe
came
I'm
with
tripping.
But this is just a basic standard interior. It's
5-speed?
It's 5-speed, yep. It's got some ones.
Oh yeah, see, this is more like
swapped them in.
I'm used to this, okay?
Nice cloth seats.
Oh, it's nice though.
Everything's in good shape.
See, this smells like the 90s. It looks like the 90s. 172,000 miles, not bad, not bad. Any plans with this one, or is you just keeping it?
Keeping it maintained. It's coming up on its 180K, so we're going to be doing the timing belt on it, water pump. Has a little bit of a leak on it, probably I think by the rear main, but it's also maybe due for, had the same clutch in it for 4 years, and it's still running really good. It holds good, doesn't slip or nothing. So, but these things still have 220, 240 horsepower in them from the factory.
That's good. That's SVX numbers.
Yep, and it's the NA, so you get, you know, it's nice. It's got a little different feel than the turbo.
How much did you end up getting this one for that long ago?
$3,000 for this.
And what are they going for now as a front wheel drive?
These are probably, you know, you can get a nice, really good kept one, $5 grand right now, $4 or $5 grand. I would say I tend to pay a little bit extra for cars when I buy them, but I have not had any major problems when I get into like the communities and they talk about, oh, I've always had problems with
this issue, and then you're like, my shit's fine.
No, it's good.
That's always a really fucking good feeling, okay? And that's a sunroof or another removable top?
Removable glass moonroof.
So that's your thing, huh?
And that will go into the back, and it's designed that. But yeah, like I said, the roof comes off. It's really simple. There's a little crank.
Yeah, it's got the same
little tabs. You slide them in there. You got
dude, man, you can go get your groceries. You got your kids in the car. You out having fun, man. Look at the little diffuser it's got going on, bro.
That is 2G style for the rear diffusers. That is a stock 2G bumper for a Stealth. That only comes in the 94 to 96 models.
Wow.
And the 1G has a different style. The style of the quad tips from the factory, but this is actually no mufflers and it's just straight pipe, but it has...
Oh, let's hear it. I didn't know it was straight pipe.
Straight pipe from the muffler, from the cat back.
Yeah. Sounds like a V6.
Nice.
Does it drone bad?
Nah, it's not bad at all.
Okay. All right, that's what's up, man. All right, so now to your pride and joy.
The one I've had the longest and my favorite is the 91 Stealth Turbo. This I got back in 2014, I believe. So I've had about 8 years, which is unheard of for me because
commitment issues. Got it.
I've had probably about 30 to 40 different cars since I was 18.
Where's your BMW?
That got sold to get the 944.
Oh!
The one you sold me too, that's gone.
Oh yeah, he bought the 740 IL. And then he had another BMW that you engine swapped, E30, and then you sold the E30 because you were like, I need this.
Yeah, I sold it back to the guy who I bought it from because he was like, if you ever sell it, I want first dibs now, and he's having a blast with it. And then I was able to sell that and actually gave me a little bit of the funds to get the 944.
Yeah, so we got a little sidetracked. A couple differences I'm already seeing, right? The blisters is what you call them?
Talking about the hoods, yeah, this is a 1G hood.
And then the front bumper.
Front bumper is different as well,
Is that just a turbo bumper?
This is an RT bumper, so this is on the non-turbo RTs and the RT turbos.
But that's an RT as well.
That is an RT, but that's the style for the 2G. They didn't have the same like kind of lip.
Oh.
2G Stealths are kind of not as
desirable,
not as beautiful, if I could say, as the 1Gs.
So it's opposite of the 3000.
Yeah.
The 3000 got better looking.
Yeah.
As they got rid of the pop-up headlights and stuff like that.
Yep.
But these they started off hot.
Yeah.
And then they got uglier as they got older.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, when
or funkier.
When I was looking for a Stealth, I was like, you know what, I got to get a black Stealth. It's got to be in black. So I found
oh, okay. And, see, I get that. All right, listen, I hate black cars. Unless there's a fucking reason why you have a black car. Why? Do you hate yourself? Oh my God. Like, you can barely see it on camera. It's every single imperfection you can see. You clean it, and then next thing you know, it's dirty.
I did wash it today, which is
which is crazy, dude. Dude, I have that black bumper on the Vet, right? Yo, I wash it, and then next thing you know, it's dirty again. I haven't even moved. I just walked away from it. I dry it off, then it's dirty again. Anyway, sorry, rant over.
And then, of course, pop-up headlights.
Oh,
so the 1G, 91 to 93, 2G, 94 to 96 is when they made them. That's the only years the Stealth.
Is that when they ended, 96?
91 to 96 was the Stealth production run.
Okay.
And then obviously my desirable would be a 96 turbo Stealth, twin turbo Stealth. They only made 72 in the United States.
Wait, what?
There's only 72 96 RT turbo Stealths in the United States.
Jesus Christ.
So they're really desirable, and they had a different wing where the wing was more curved upwards to look more aggressive. They call it the Super Banana.
I'll try to find it.
It's a 96 Stealth. I mean, if you want to pay $900 for an OEM one.
So, I'd rather put the newest VR4 spoiler, the one that arcs up. That thing is sick,
the combat
man.
spoiler.
Combat.
Actually, you know, it looks really good on these, and that's the only thing I would do, because I'm going to keep this all original stock looking, as it's like sleeper.
Yeah.
Take the wing off, and you get the 97, the 2G 3000 GT, which had the hoop spoiler that had the side fins. And
yes.
Those lines really line up really good with the Stealth model, because in the 3000 GTs, the sail panels come here, they break, and they come down. And then this window goes here, but this has a line that goes all the way to the back. So it flows better. And when you put that with like the hoop spoiler, you know, then the hoop spoiler curves around. I personally love that look.
So I see this is your only hardtop, yeah?
This is the only hardtop, yes.
Oh yes, Ninja Performance.
Ninja Performance, just wanted to say, a gentleman named Chris Hill, he actually passed away back in October.
Okay.
He is pretty much one of the original pioneers of VR4 stealth platform tuning, figuring out how to make it faster, breaking an engine, building it back differently. I mean, just everything. He's knowledgeable, and the whole community loved him. I mean, he's huge in the community. If I ever needed something, I was going to him first. He's a vendor as well, but you know, he said he fought cancer for about 10 years, and he did pass away last October. So, you know, he's the guy I go to. They are kind of on hold right now, dealing with the
loss.
everything and just like getting the business back running and getting orders put in. But
where are they based out of?
Based out of South Carolina.
Oh, no, not far.
Chris Hill, the Ninja, was one of the guys who really good friend, just nice guy, always willing to like. It doesn't matter if he knew you or if he knew you for 20 years. You could like message him on Messenger and you can ask him a question and he'll just do like, and he'll start going
as soon
on
as he can. Yeah, oh yeah, man, this is what
just
you want to do.
Knowledge all over. So
man, that's great, man.
But so I always remember him. So he's a great guy too. So just want to put that plug out.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Chris Hill, man. Rest in peace.
Going to the backs. Let's see. We got the 1G, so you see the difference. It's got just a straight.
Just a straight bar.
Back. I put
no diffuser.
I put some nice, completely straight pipe from the engine exhaust on there. Just a normal stainless exhaust, no fancy brand or nothing. Okay. Pretty much that's it there. I love the rear ends of these. I think the rear ends of the Stealth look great.
I like them. That was one of the things that I dug a little bit more on the Stealth than the 3000 GTs. The 3000 GT is cool and all, but something about this was different. I mean, also the name of it is really cool too. So is this real?
Those are for show, but they are actually the 1G side skirts. These are actually, a lot of people actually want these for the later models.
I was about to say, because that doesn't have it.
Those are, yep, that's the 2G model. The 3000 GTs still kept this through their whole production run. Yeah. But it changed a little bit. Like they went to like 2 big holes with like a little
in the center. Slit in the center.
But this is actually kind of like a better, this is a
lot
But this
better. Is real.
That's just the clearance for the door. Yep.
That's not real. All right. All right, so tell us the story about this thing, like how you ended up purchasing it. What was special about it to you?
Well, I had a couple before this one. And they were base model, single. Just I was not as well off in my career at the time, so I had less money to spend. But I was buying $800 salvage titled Stealths. And this was the first one. I said, you know what, I need to find one. I said, I've been driving the non-turbo ones, and they were saying, oh, hey, if you get a turbo, it's gonna be a lot more headaches. And stuff. I was like, I know, but it's
you want them.
It's the experience. Like they said, there's nothing like getting the turbo model. So I found this in Wilmington, and it actually spent most of its life in Wisconsin.
Wow.
In the history, when I looked at it, it was in Wisconsin until about 2010. Made its way down to the coast in North Carolina, and I've had it since 2014, 2015.
Gotcha.
As far as the body and everything's concerned, when I had the shop put on the exhaust, told them what kind of car I was bringing, and they were like, oh God. Because they always get such trashed cars. And he told me when he did it, he said, besides, I had one bolt that broke off stuck in the turbo when they was taking off the exhaust. But it was good actually it did that because my turbos ended up needing a rebuild at the time. So it actually worked out that I got them sent in at the time to get them rebuilt. So the turbos are like less than 5,000 miles on them.
Nice.
But also when he was doing that, he's like, look, I was unsure about this because I always get people these bad examples. I've never had a car that come in like as clean as it was underneath. No rust, nothing had been messed up or like
no rust from Wisconsin.
Yeah. Hey, I said that's why I don't buy junk. I mean, I'm willing. At the time, me paying what I did for it was still a little high for the time, simply because it was a Stealth. Yeah. If you put this next to a 911 VR4, I'll give you two. That'd be the same exact car. You could have everything the same. They'll pay $2 or $3 grand more for that VR4 than they would for the Stealth, just because it's not a Stealth. Exact same car. Do you know what the difference is?
What's that?
Active aero and active exhaust.
That's it?
That's it. Active aero, where the wing would move on the 3000 GTs.
Yeah, a little bit.
Most of the time, the contacts would wear out and they wouldn't work, and you'd have to rebuild them anyway. The active exhaust, same thing. It was a switch on the exhaust, and actually,
any moving part is just another part that breaks.
And they would rust out because it's on the exhaust, and they wouldn't work anyway. So really, a lot of people who have the active exhaust, if it still works, it's great. It's pretty cool. It's like, oh man, you have active exhaust that works. But most people don't have it anymore. They get rid of the active exhaust, or they'll, eventually when the all-wheel steering goes, they get rid of the all-wheel steering, which we'll talk about later. So it's kind of just things like that.
Yeah, I find that kind of ridiculous because, I mean, you already know that it's the same thing. It's got Brembos, well, not Brembos, but it's got a big brake kit. It's got twin turbos. It's got everything you need. It's just not the same brand.
It's just not a 3000 GT,
that's kind of ridiculous. Because it is. It literally is a 3000 GT. All right, so, well, let's pop the hood. Because you were telling me before we started filming that the person who owned this before you was doing a lot to this car, and that was a big steal.
Yes, he didn't mechanically, no, not much, but regardless, it was still running good. I bought it when it had right under 106,000 miles, so it's at 117 right now, I believe.
Oh, not bad.
And so I've had it for 8 years, 10,000 miles roughly. So, and I've driven it to the Dragon 3 times, and it's done great on the Dragon. And I've driven it back, and the only thing I've ever had problems with this car was the clutch. because it burnt out. Normal. Alternator went out, and everything else was just voluntary. I didn't need to replace the radiator, but I did, because at the time, the shop that did my exhaust, they also were a dealer from Mitsumoto. They said, hey, we can get you a really good deal on a radiator if you want.
Absolutely.
I said, sure, let's put it in. So I got it for about a fraction of the price I would retail.
That's what's up.
Everything else, I did the valve covers myself. I painted these, put in the performance bar, Autobahn 88 silicone intercooler hoses. And that is for, this is funny. When I put my radiator hoses in right here and down here, they are not OEM, but the transmission is here. The shifter cables are here. And what happened is the shifter cables right here, there's my cable connections, and then this is the lower radiator hose.
Okay.
What happened was this hose was slightly pushed down a little bit from how it was made. So when you'd shift, it wouldn't stay in reverse and it wouldn't stay in fifth. And I drove it that way for a long time, thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I gotta do transmission work. And I happened to go on the Facebook one day, and somebody was like, hey, check your coolant hoses. And sure enough, you pull this forward about half an inch, and now all my gears shift freely.
Okay.
So that bungee cord is there to pull my radiator hose about half an inch forward, so that I can have,
the more you know,
my shifter can shift clearly and it doesn't pop out of reverse. Or
so now it's zip ties, duct tape,
and
bungee cords.
And it's subtle enough where you don't really notice.
Yeah, I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it. I was like, hold on a second.
You're one of the first people to notice that, surprisingly.
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. Explain the blisters.
The blisters.
Because this doesn't look like it needs it.
It doesn't, but this used to have ECS, electronic controlled suspension, from the factory.
So it was just super
And they
fancy.
had caps here that sit on top, and they bolt down. And so this was the connection for them. And it would hook up to your transmission computer, or your ECS controller in your back. And it would be able, you had a button on the front, you could have tour mode, sport mode options for your suspension.
Gotcha.
And they discontinued the fronts, and you can still buy the rears, but they're about, $600 a piece. So
okay, delete time.
You can't get front ECS anymore unless you find a parts car that still has them, it still works.
Gotcha.
It would be cheaper just to go the coilover kit anyway with the.
Is this on coilovers?
This is on a non-ECS KYB strut with a Intrax lowering springs.
Gotcha.
The only thing plans with this though, as far as plans, is this is going to be doing a 120K soon as well. And I'm going to be sending that down to a place in Georgia that's really good.
How much power is this making?
A little over stock. I mean, from the factory, the claims are, 300. With the drivetrain and everything, you lose about 20%. Now I'm just running a wastegate pressure on it, so it's about 8 to 10 pounds right now.
Ain't no point. You just having fun.
That's the plan, and then I already got ready to go. I've got my tunable ECU. It's called the Jester Chrome.
Yeah.
And now then once I get that done, another guy down in South Carolina does remote tuning. I'll be putting in some Evo injectors, so I'll be going from a 360 to a 560.
Gotcha.
CC Evo 8 injector. Other than that, everything's pretty much staying the same.
All right, cool. Well, that's what's up. So you're keeping it pretty modest.
Yep.
You're not gonna go too crazy unless you like win $1 million or something.
I'm not gonna go, and I'm not gonna go hard on it until I know for sure that it's tuned the right way.
Is this engine not built more than that one?
Not really. The only difference, it's still same. Everything is all the same. The heads are different, obviously. The oil pan's different for the turbo lines, the feed line, and then there's some slight differences as far as with like the intake is different.
All right. Well, let's peep out the interior real quick because it looks really nice.
It is. The previous owner who owned the upholstery shop in Wilmington, he actually went through and redid the front seats. He redid the door cards here with this red, the shift boot, the e-brake boot as well, red and black. Rear seats are still stock OEM originals, so those are in really good shape because nobody ever uses them.
Yeah, and it is a 3000 because it has this this little dial here. Yeah,
still works. Those tend to go out a lot. They are very common for just burning out, and you get them rebuilt, and
they still break.
They still break. Yep. ECU has already been replaced in this, which is another common thing. ECUs on these would always fail. It was not an if, it was when.
It was when.
Until 1998 when they changed to a whole different type of ECU. And then
that wasn't even a stealth anymore.
Yeah, the capacitors would leak and they would get on the motherboards and they would, lots of crossing and just create gunkiness on the board, and then your car wouldn't start, it would die at light. Happened in a 3000 GT I used to have, put it in a used one, and it never had a problem again.
All right, dude, I think we've basically covered it, man. I've always loved these things, so this is pretty exciting that I'm finally going to get to ride in one.
Yep. We're gonna go
that's not my aunt's shit box from fucking 2001.
Oh yeah. It's definitely fun. I mean, are there cars faster? Of course there are, but it's just, I don't know. This has always been a fun car for me. This has always been something I've loved, and I just, you know, yeah, I could go and find something that's easier to work on. Oh, you could go get this and get so much more power and spend less money. But I mean, that's why you have a community. You have people that say, you know, I'm into this car for a reason. But yeah, all-wheel drive, it's got, like, it's like a 55-45, so rear's 55% of the power and 45 up front for the all-wheel drive.
Oh wow, so that's pretty close.
Yep. And then the rear steering, what it does is at over 35 miles an hour, from what I remember, it will turn the rear wheels a little slightly.
And it still works?
Mm-hmm. Yep, on this one it still does. And if it goes out and it stops working, it's just a delete kit. It takes about 150 pounds off the car when you delete it.
Hell
you
yeah.
don't need to use it anymore.
Hell
So,
yeah.
because once you actually go on getting on the track and stuff, then it becomes
you
like...
don't need it. It becomes more of a habit, a burden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Sounds good.
This is still from the factory, even the 90s. This is a 5 to 6 second car from the factory as far as 0 to 60. So I mean,
okay,
with how
that's
heavy
pretty
it
good.
was,
Yeah,
you know, and a lot of people were shied away from this. Were like, oh, it's too heavy and this and that. It still weighs as much as a Supra. It still weighs as much as a 300ZX.
They didn't live in the future.
Yeah. So I mean, and, you know, and this was ahead of its time. I mean, who was doing all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering, active aero?
Pretty good.
And I'm still only in third.
It pulls nicely, man.
I mean, it's, for being as old as it is and the way it pulls, it's great. I had my buddy, he has a WRX that he was, you know, built pretty well, and he was like, hey, you want to go out? He's like, sure. And, you know, we went out and down to Mexico for a little while and just said, let's do some pulls. We went, and I stayed with him for pretty well. He got a better jump because with these,
you don't want to dump it.
Yeah, it's all-wheel drive. The transmissions on these are very finicky. They're very fragile. The transmissions, we said, if they can handle the power, you can't. You don't want to beat on them so much. I've had all the money in the world. I'd blown up transmissions once a year. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, but this
That's
is a great car.
I see why I used to like these as a kid, man. They're super comfortable. They're very practical. And
oh yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the Firebird in the interior.
Radio still works good. You got fully working.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Fully working display, which is very prone to wear out.
That's super cool, man.
AC.
AC works?
AC does work very well.
Oh no! This is luxury.
This is actually really good AC for what it is. You can feel it now.
Yeah, I feel it, man. It's just it's already about to
be cold. As much as you want to say you want to delete your AC and stuff, but man, if you're out on a summer day, you're having fun, and you're just sitting at a light, and you're just like, man, I know I don't need this AC, but man, it is nice to have. Because I've had both with and without, and
I fucking have AC, and I don't even use it because I'm so used to driving shit boxes without it.
Yeah. I get a lot of offers on this. They're like, "Would you ever sell it?" And I said, "Man," I said, if you seriously want me to consider it, you gotta start at like 12. I mean, I can't. I'm just like, I can't do it yet. I mean, if I have to get a really good offer. I mean, most people wouldn't get a 91. Like I said before, there are specific parts to a 91. They'd rather get the 2G with the 4-bolt engine instead of the 2-bolt and things like that. This is a 2-bolt engine.
Yeah. I need a boosted car. It's got some torque.
It does.
Yeah.
It rolls.
That was 4th gear?
Third.
Third, okay. That's cool, man. I'm happy that there's still people like us trying to save our old childhood heroes.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that'll always be the thing, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I'm extremely late for something that I was supposed to be going to, but this was a blast, man.
Good.
Everybody, say hi to Brad, because you can't follow him on anything. He's got a dope little lineup here, and this is just what he owns now, because we just talked for like 15 minutes about all the different cars that he's had in his lifetime. So, all right, y'all, thanks for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Leave a comment below about how much Gran Turismo you used to play and drive one of these cars. Don't forget the 944, and don't forget the shitbox. Give the shitbox some love, man. That thing, that's the workhorse right there, man.
Great.
If you like videos like this, you know, we got a whole playlist of them. If you want your garage featured or your car featured, just hit me up. I will answer you. I like making these types of videos. It's super fun. It's nice to get to know. It's nice to get my friends out there on the internet and also show people the love that other people have for their cars. So thanks for watching again. Y'all have a good one.